what made you want to do this as an animated movie, like as a cartoon?
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Actually, um, the first answer and the most evident answer is that, in order to, if we wanted to make it like a live action film, we should have find a whale, a real whale, a real fighter jet, a real ship, and this is evident. But you know, the most the more important answer is that we wanted to make, let me say, a different world. You know, it's not a matter of superiority or inferiority. I'm not comparing animation with live action, but because we had a background in fine arts, because both of us had already experienced illustration, painting, graphic design, and even industrial design and handicraft. So we had some advantages in making animation. And I think when you decide to make an animated film, you want to make it different world. And we just wanted, other than the expenses, other than the feasibility of some elements in our film, it was more interesting for us to make a different world compared to the real world.
Right. I can see that, and the animation is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a very pretty film. So I understand, the creativity and the artistic expression that comes from making it that way. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you so much.
the, when did you work on this film? How many years did it take? Months? How long did it take to work on it?
A century. Because it's been 8 years that we are working on this film. 6 year and a half for the making the film, and 1 year and a half for distributing it until now, until today. And because actually making animated film is very hard all over the world. But when you are going to make an animated film in Iran, oh, this is something else, because you need to fight with, recently actually, with a lot of problems that actually made this project impossible. And we risked a lot, and maybe we didn't know that what would happen in the future. When we started writing this story, we knew that it was going to be a really big project, big animated short film project, and it would need a lot of skilled artists for make it happen, and a lot of budget. But I don't know, maybe Hossein and me, we are so crazy and we didn't think about that, and just we we continued writing. And I remember the first 2 years, we both of us, we were working on the story and concept design and pre-production of the film, but there wasn't any person uh, except us, just both of us, the first 2 years. And then the most important animators of the film, our friend, joined us in the third year, I think. So we continue together, 3 person, making this film for next years. And in the final year, I think the other person, like the composer, the sound designer, the other artists who helped us in coloring the animated plants, and for example, a person who helped us in how to say, to shading and something like that. They joined us in the last year, so I can say that the mm, almost the whole production was made by just 4 person. Four
Wow.
person, yes, and
At most 4%,
yes,
3 or 4%.
3 or
Yeah.
4%. So it took us a long time, and every time a person asked us, "Oh, you are still making that animated films? How long is that? Is it
Oh
a
no.
feature animated film?" And we replied, "No, it's a short animated."
Oh no.
In addition to what Shirin said, we had to deal with a lot of problems. Most importantly, we had to deal with sanctions
Mm,
because, as you
Mm,
know, we are under sanctions, and brings about it brings about a kind of a severe economic crisis in our country. And
right.
I think there were a lot of other problems other than sanctions and economic crisis. But if we didn't have such problems to deal with, it would have taken maybe 4 years at most. But these
Mm,
problems made this project last for more than 6 years and a half.
mhm.
right. It's amazing to finally see it though, right? And it for it to be nominated for an Oscar, all that hard work,
Yeah,
Yeah,
paying off.
yeah.
Um,
the only
what
consolation.
what inspired the story? Because it's about a father and a daughter. What inspired that?
You do you want
No
to?
difference. Okay.
Um, at first we just wanted to narrate a story, nothing more. We wanted to narrate an engaging and appealing story for the audience, and we just wanted we wanted it to be about a parent, a small family, a parent and their child. Even we were not sure and certain about their genders. And also we knew from the very beginning that we wanted the location of this story to be in Iran, but we wanted to make it internationally, not a local film.
Right.
Actually, um after a while, after more than 1 year, uh, we had numerous 2% brainstorming sessions with each other and discussed the story. And let me say, um, after at first, let me say that at first we had some blank papers on the table
Mm,
and 2 pencils, nothing more. But gradually our other obsessions, like the veterans, Iran-Iraq war veterans, that are suffering from PTSD, also the issue of environment, the issue of war, the issue of women, whatsoever, our other obsessions found their way to the story. Uh, and also for the characterization of the characters in this film, uh, we refer to our own fathers. Uh, Shirin's father was a war veteran from Iran-Iraq war that had lost one of his eyes in that war, and also there is a fragment from a shrapnel blast in his skull that makes him
Mhm.
behave violently sometimes. Also, on the other hand, I always had a complicated relationship with my father. So our fathers played a big role, a significant role in the characterization of the father in the film. And our
Mhm.
relationships was a reference for us in order to design and structure the relationship between the father and daughter in the film. That's it. That's it.
And I think that a lot of people, regardless of where they are in the world, can relate to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Yeah.
story. So,
because
Yeah.
because because everyone has their own traumas,
Mm.
and this film is about trauma, and they see maybe themselves and their own lives on the screen when while watching our film.
when people watch the film, what do you want them to take away from it? Like, what do you want them to learn when they watch this?
Um, I think we didn't decided to, to put an specific sure, and a specific
A slogan.
slogan in the film or something like that. We just wanted to share our own pure feelings with other people, that we have something in common, and we found out that, okay, yes, there are a lot of people that we have a lot in common, and it was unbelievable. So everyone can interpret in a way that they want. For example, uh, we didn't want to put too much metaphors and symbolism in the film. Actually, we did, but not that too much. But we found out that a lot of people, critics, filmmakers, or ordinary people, they interpret for themselves, and uh, they found the metaphors which we didn't intended. We didn't intend, yes, and it was very beautiful.
And that is correct in our
Yes,
views. In our view, it is correct.
yes, some of them were very creative, and maybe it came out from our unconscious, and it's true, but it was completely unconscious. So, for example, we have received a lot of comments from all over the world, and there was someone who said that I was suffering from trauma over 30 years, and after watching your film, it was like you take out that range, that
That
pain, and
suffering.
that suffering from me, and it's over. And really, I was going to cry, and because we have received a lot of awards and prizes so far, but this is something else, and it's not, we cannot compare it to each other.
Actually,
That's amazing.
in addition, I think as Shireen told you, we didn't want to teach the audience a certain lesson. You know,
Mm.
as Shireen said, we just wanted to share our feelings with them. You know, our film, I think, is designed and structured to have some some layers. The outer layer is just is has been, you know, we have tried to narrate an engaging story for the audience, and some of the audience just take away the joy of let me the story, but there are some inner layers that, as Shireen said, there are some metaphors and symbols. Some of them have been intentional and some of them unintentional, and maybe those unintentional metaphors have come from our unconscious mind. And let me say, I wanted to say something about, you know, despite our film is not a melodramatic film, but it has, you know, we have seen a lot of people who have been influenced while watching our film.
Mm.
And I think that maybe this film brings about a kind of catharsis in them,
Yeah.
if I'm not
I
mistaken.
No, I think so as well. I think that that translates really well, again, no
Mm,
matter who you are.
mm.
Um, you two are based in Iran. You talked about the challenges making a film in Iran. The whole world is watching the movie. Do you have anything that you would like to say, to your international audience?
I think this is the magic of cinema that enables us, empowers us to share our feeling with the world, and we are totally happy and on the moon
Yeah.
that we can share our feeling to the audience, and we are very thankful that we have been able to accomplish this project. You know, just accomplishing this project can be kind of miracle in Iran. Whatever we try to imply, what happened to us during making this film, we cannot. Uh, you know, we had to deal with inflation every day. We had to deal with shrinking our national currency every day. We had to deal with political problems every day. We had to deal with the expenses of my disorder. You know, I got diagnosed. I was diagnosed with alopecia universalis disorder, which is a self-immune disorder, and other than its expenses, we had to tolerate the emotional and psychological crisis that it imposed on us. Also, one of the problems that we had was that we had to deal with the lack of skilled animators and artists in Iran, because the majority of them had left the country due to sanctions and economic crisis, and we didn't have even one half-time animator. You know, all of our animators were part-time animators, and that's why our project prevailed very slow. Um, there were a lot of problems. Whatever I say here can be like a tip of the iceberg. Even we every day we had to check the the price of our currency with dollars, with US dollars, with euros, and whatsoever, or gold coin, because always we were we were worried about what would happen in the future. Even we had some difficulties for connecting to the internet. For example, in some protests, political protests, they cut internet for 3 weeks, and we were very worried if this internet cut would be temporary or permanent. Will be able to send our film to other countries after finishing it or not? Um, Let me say, even now, we don't have a U.S. embassy in Tehran, in our country, and and today, which is I think February the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, we even have not managed to submit our application for a U.S. visa for the Oscar, and we don't know if we will be able to come to the LA or not. You know. It is very hard. We have been through a lot of problems, but at least after all, we are very happy that we managed to just accomplish it. Just accomplishing this project was a miracle, actually.
I hope you do get to come to LA to see, you know, and to be there and everything. I obviously know a very small fraction of what's going on in Iran. We see it on TikTok and YouTube and everything. So I hope you both are okay. And Hossein, I hope that you're okay, you know, after your diagnoses. Um, I just wanted to ask really quick, what made both of you want to become filmmakers?
Um, it's a good question because I wasn't that kind of person who knew from his or her childhood that, for example, he is going or she's going to be a filmmaker in the future. Not at all. I have always been interested in art, especially visual arts, painting, and graphic design from my not childhood, from my teenagehood. But after that, I found out that the media isn't sufficient for me. For example, I always wanted to narrate a story with visual design, but I found out that just illustration, I needed something more. And there is a long story that how I moved from graphic design to animation. It's a long story, but I found out that with animation, I can add sound, music, movement to the illustration, and this is wonderful. And you have a very wide audience in comparison, for example, illustration or graphic design or painting. And so I can say that I'm lucky. I'm lucky to find my way and to find animation filmmaking. I didn't know. I didn't know in my, you know, in my childhood and in my teenagehood. I didn't know anything, but I finished with being an animation filmmaker, and I really love it.
That's amazing. That's it. It has to feel very again empowering that you made the move from graphic design to animated, and again now your film is nominated for an Oscar. So
It's my first professional film after my graduation film, and the
wow.
second professional film for Hossein. So actually, we could have made a lot of films this year. For example, instead of making one film during 8 years, we could have made, for example, 2 or 3 films. But we decided not to do that. We decided to put all of our energy, to pour our heart and soul in one film, to be a good film, to have a better film, you know. And do you have something to add for?
No, just Shirin explained everything very well, and my answer would be very similar to her. And I'm also lucky that found my way. I spent a lot of years on painting and graphic design and whatsoever, but as Shirin said, none of them, industrial designing, painting, illustration, the graphic design, none of them are comparable with filmmaking in terms of being impactful, being to reach to the audience reach, and to be influential. That's why I think it was the destiny that I was very very interested in films, very interested, no matter animation or live action. But actually, I also didn't expect to be a filmmaker one day, and I think it was a destiny that
And being an Oscar nominated.
yeah.
So- which is amazing. So I have one more question that I just want to ask you both. So now, In the Shadow of the Cypress, right? Oscar nominated. Do we have another film in the works? Are you working on another film?
You mean our next project?
Yes, next project.
We have a lot of actually we have a lot of alternatives for making our next project, but personally we prefer to make our first feature length animated film, and it is a dream that I hope that it will come true. And if we will manage to get an Oscar, I don't know it will happen or not, but if we will get an Oscar, it will pave the way. Yeah, thank you. It will pave the way for us to find financiers and producers for our first feature-length animated film. We have started to work on it, but we don't have enough time to allocate because at the moment we are working on our Oscar campaign. But we are serious for making it. And if, as I told you, if we can receive an Oscar, it will be the first Iranian Oscar in animation, Iranian animation Oscar, and that's very fantastic, and it will encourage us to go to this way, to continue our path in filmmaking with higher motivation actually and morale actually.
That's amazing. I really hope that you both win. Hossein, Shireen, thank you so much for speaking with me. I really appreciate it, taking the time to do this. And I really hope the best for In the Shadow of the Cypress. And thank you. I know that
Thank you so
sometimes
much.
it's difficult, but I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me.
It's our pleasure.
It's our pleasure and honor, and thank you for having us. It was nice talking to you, and really, really, we need your prayers
Yes.
because more positive energy because maybe the competition with our situation that, as you see, we cannot come to the LA. Maybe the competition for us is very hard and complicated actually in this field. And also I apologize for my bad English.
No, I was gonna say I apologize. I know that language barriers can be difficult, but you did great. You did great, so don't worry about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
energy, and we really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shireen. Have a great rest of your day.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.